Got a lot to catch up on here. It's November, and this is update 1. And right now, the 1225's cab is sitting out here in front of the building. And it's going to have work done on it before it gets put back on. Got how to do some sandblasting of the old paint and put some new fixtures on it. We gotta knock out the old cab bottom here to put the new floor on. Actually, what will happen is the new floor will stay on, I think, and the cab will be lowered onto it. We gotta knock this one off first. See over here on the servicing track, the ashes from 75 are still smoking when it was serviced. Just a small pile from what usually happens. They got it over here and just dropped whatever's left. It was operating yesterday and then today. Not very much there because it's a smaller locomotive, but it dumped from the previous pile the other day and today's. So plus we had during the weekend before Halloween, operating some caboose rides only. We had a lot more people, so yeah, you can see the cab here. We got an open thing of paint here because they're spray painting the paint on the next passenger car. They just finished the yellow and now they're finishing up with the gray, and we're gonna see what happens. That one's gonna be finished before North Pole Express. You see, we're already done with this side pretty much. He's finishing that up. Gotta work on the other side and finish that too. Can't really get to that side unless we put on the turntable because well, it's so windy out today, kind of balmy too. But going in here, let's show you what we need to catch up on. Okay, the rods on the left side are finally off. We're working on those. They're working on putting the final stay bolts in the crown sheet now, and getting those in there. We'll look at the rods in just a moment, but I want to show the extent. They actually have the inside pretty much all finished. See, all the lights not on. I'll go turn it on for you. Let me go do that right now. They vacuumed all up in here where under the cab is, and been trying to keep that clean. Some stuff still gets dirty, but they're cleaning it in preparation for when they put the cab back on. They still gotta do the cutting for this. This will be the front of the cab here on the floor. So they'll measure those and cut them, and they'll turn it around to fit against the boiler. But turn this light back on here. There we go. Yeah, okay. Now we can see. Yeah, so you look up in there, and you see now the whole crown sheet is in, as well as combustion chamber, and it's fitting to the tube sheet, and yeah, they're just slowly welding those pieces together. They still gotta drill some holes for the combustion chamber, as you can't really see that because well, the ladder's in the way and the light's not really bright enough. But just some holes, just a few holes need to be drilled. Probably about 50 holes compared to the thousands we just drilled out and put back into it. So the stables, they've been trying to get those done. Pretty much done on that side too. We need to paint it still, but they're gonna cut the holes for the siphons and put those in there. The siphons are being finished up as we speak at another shop, and they'll be delivered soon. And of course they gotta be mounted in there, so those holes need to be cut. But other than that, once those pieces are welded together and some more of the stables go in, they'll take those big rods out that are holding it up there for now, and the new stables will go in. Okay, now to the rods. And as you can see, this is just the left side. They'll be working on the right side once these are completely finished, but they pretty much got them all shined up. They cleaned off the winterizer covering that was on there for the last few years, keeping them from rusting, and they've shined them all up, and now they're just being inspected for any cracks or defects. Of course, you get the little nicks in here and jabs from when it was in service and the last few years when we've operated it. They've really cleaned out these bearings really well. There's not much there, you can see on my fingers. They did a good job of cleaning out the old oil and gunk on there. And it was just finishing up on the crank pin yesterday. Had to get all the old grease out of the groove here and clean out the oil too. This one's a little bit dirtier. See the little lines there that I just made. But other than that, it's pretty much finished. You see the brass bearings over here. They'll go back in, although I guess they're telling me the other day that they might have found a crack in one and might just end up replacing all the bearings anyway if they want to, if there's enough funds. But for right now, these rods are pretty much ready to go back on once they put more oil on them. So basically what you're looking at is these rods in the back here are the main rods, the ones that connect the wheels, as well as this piece down here. This last piece is also part of the main rod system. And this long piece here is the drive rod, and that actually connects up there. That's the one you saw sitting before. That's driven by the piston, and that pushes these rods around, and they go around like that. And the crank pin is part of the valve gear system. There'll be a rod hanging off that, which you haven't seen in the update videos because it wasn't attached, because that rod is sitting around somewhere, shined up already. And that rod will go up there and meet the valve gear rod that goes in there and pushes a smaller piston in there that works back and forth, and the crank pin runs around as each rod goes around. And that's basically how it works. And forward and reverse and neutral pretty much works with the valve gear to make that run, and the amount of steam that's in there and how far it has to travel. That's how you get in forward or reverse. See, this part here still has the brass in it, and you see the grooves in it where the oil and lubrication goes into. It just sits in there and works, and then until it overflows and works its way around as it moves back and forth. See, it's all been cleaned out pretty well. Very, very little dirt there. And just to give you a sense of what these weigh, it's quite a lot. See, I'm going to take my arm here and just very lightly try and move it up and down. See, I'm not moving it very far. And that's just one piece. There's usually like 4 or 5 guys trying to slide across these tubes here. They're part of the tubes that we ordered. They were just cut because they were extra. And they greased them up to get them off. They got them off there, and they placed them down the ties and rolled them across here. And that's how they got them over there. Now, it's another interesting thing is this piece here. See where it links in there. It's interesting to note that you see as I lifted it, you notice that that swivel point there is the only thing holding it in. And you might think that, well, how come when it's being driven like that, how come this wheel here doesn't go out of place? Well, it's probably because, and it's really interesting, that the rod on the other side is opposite of what this one is. Actually, it's more like 3/4 or 3/5 of a turn difference. And that's what holds it straight with the other wheels in there. Whereas that swivel, I think I could explain it the same way I would why this one's connected different too. See, this main rod here is within the drive rod, and the rest of the main rods go on the outside of this. What keeps them like that is because all the wheels on the other side are at a different turn ratio. So, and that why it's all different like that is just basically because the wheelbase locomotive that allows it to have a little bit of give, so it can get around tighter curves. And that's basically how it works. Now, I also want to point out something interesting you may not know, unless maybe someone's told you you've worked on steam for a while. That although all steam engines are different, even if they're in the same class, built by the same builder, whatever, but some parts can be changed. Specifically, Lima, I don't know, I'm not sure if Baldwin or Alco also do this, but Lima stamped all the parts with the number of the locomotive that goes to. You see this right here says 1225 on it, and the L stands for left. So this is the left main rod here. And the same one here, a little bit more. See the L? You can just barely see the number. But the reason for that is all the rods are labeled so you knew which one they went to. But why would that be, since all steam engines act different even if they're in the same class? Well, some parts were made interchangeable anyways. So if one engine was in the shop for longer and they could get another one out, they would take the rods or another piece off of the other one and put it on the one that they could get back into service faster. In fact, you look at the crank pin here, that's got larger numbers on it. You can tell there, left, 1225. Not sure what ILL stands for. I think that might be the amount of pounds pressure it does. Well, that says 59,000. No, 592,009. But I can tell you the YWO, the WYO is, I believe, stands for Wyoming, as in Wyoming, Michigan, which is the yard facility west of Grand Rapids. And this piece was last serviced by the railroad on April 17th of 1950 at their shop, and they did is they pushed that down, they re-stamped it for the date that was serviced on, or rebuilt. And all the parts were rebuilt differently for when they needed to be serviced, other than when the locomotive was fully rebuilt by the railroad and stamped differently. So there's parts on the other side. I'm sure there's probably parts on this side that belong to other locomotives. But I've looked at all these rods and they all belong to 1225. So there. I'm not sure if you can see the numbers on here because the winterizer are still on these parts here. But they'd be in here. I believe the number is somewhere up in here. Might be able to get the one on the other side better when they clean that off, but right now I could tell you where the numbers are for the builders. There's all the parts on this locomotive pretty much have its number on it, just to label it differently. As you can see, I've tried to clean up the paint on there with the vacuum and the blower for when they last sandblast. The sandblasting on the inside of the boiler is all done, and they're getting ready to place the tubes in. As soon they're cutting tubes right at the moment. For the past week they have been to try and fit them up in there. Yesterday I came in, I vacuumed the whole front part. Now that they're done, and as you can see, it's a lot more cleaner. It needs to be washed though. But another thing I did yesterday is I finished up with the smoke box as much as I could. I actually opened up the smaller door on here. I turned these the other way and I opened up the smaller door to get in there because I was afraid I couldn't get the rust inside the rim. Now, a whole bunch of rust fell out, so as you can see, here's the extent of it. I knocked off all the paint because it was all bubbled up, and we're going to have to re-primer all this along the rim here. It goes all the way around. There's no paint in there anymore. The thing is, I was able to fit it better when I closed it. So that's one good thing. Way up in here. Yeah, so there's no longer any rust in this rim here. So the door is completely finished now. And it's ready forever. Inspection needs to be done. It's all done. Of course, this rim, the sill here was already painted. I showed you a couple months ago. That's all ready for the seal strip to go on there. There's actually a smaller seal strip that goes around this one too. Got a little heater in here to heat up the metal, I guess, when they have it, right? But they don't need it now because it's so balmy out for November. I think it's like in the 60s right now. See the tube sheet here? It's all shined up and ready for tube. So, okay. Yeah, even this side was vacuumed off too. All that needs to be done now is wash, so. Yeah, the only way into the boiler now is through the top of the steam dome. I'm going to get another video of that to show you inside what they've done in there. Just so you can get the feel of what it looks like one last time. And we're going to be painting once they're done completely with this side pretty soon. See, all the flexibles are pretty much in here. Just a few of them need to be placed. Right now, there's one more full row there, but it's almost ready for some of them to be welded, have the caps welded on. And as soon as that happens, which is pretty soon because they're working their way this way, probably next week they gotta paint it up there. So this will turn gray as well. And all we got is the crown sheet left. So we'll be working on the cab too. Here's the tubes, and some of them are already cut, so we're getting there. Okay, update 1 for 12/25.